Hi, friends. We're back for the last session of Divorce Con. Low key, we're a little bit sad.
I know, it's
but
been
this is
so
the last,
much fun.
This is the last session.
Like, you guys have all been amazing, and just the comments that you've been leaving and the questions you've been asking, it's just been incredible, and it's been such a fun experience. So we are a little sad that this is the last one, but we're going to do it again.
Yeah, we're totally going to do it again.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming back to this session, or if you're first time, in fact, drop a heart or whatever emoji you feel like dropping, just to show that you're here and that you're engaged. Also, where you're from, right? Because one of the other things that the purpose of this is to connect potentially with somebody who may be nearby you in person, right? Because, you know, being in person is another layer of community.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bella. And so, like, we love this exists, but we also know in person matters as well. So, drop where you're coming from. And as we head into, like, the last session of Divorce Con, I just want to take a minute to,
Paris. I've never been there, but, it's on a bucket list item. So.
I know. Oh, Pam, thank you. Yay. I'm glad our page brings you joy. That's our hope, is that it brings hope and joy. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
DC. Okay. So
we're close to you.
All right. We need to see you in person for, our next show about divorce, for sure. Florida, Essex. Okay. So we're going to try to stay focused here. It's our last session, so we know we don't have like as much of a time restraint, but want to just say that we're grateful for our sponsors of Divorce Con, our very first Divorce Con. That would be SoberLink. A great, amazing tool for co-parents or individuals that, for whom substance abuse, alcohol abuse disorder is part of their divorce journey. We're grateful for Our Family Wizard because we are huge advocates of communication. And so Our Family Wizard facilitates that in a way that's productive with outcomes that are in the best interest of your family. So we're grateful to you. And then Offutt Kerman, a law firm that is nationwide. Truly, they have offices in so many places. They also have attorneys with so many practice areas, because we know that family law is just one avenue that divorce sort of covers, but there's estate planning. There's all of the other layers. So we're grateful for Offutt Kerman for coming along and believing in us, believing in this platform and this concept of Divorce Con bringing people together. So thank you for being here. Thank you for our sponsors. And the last thing is that our merch, all of our merch is on sale.
Family Wizard?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay. Sorry.
She knows she has to remind me.
I know.
I'm old.
No,
I'm older. I'm older.
No.
Just fun fact about us.
Yes.
Anyhow, but the last thing is that our merch, all of our merch is on sale in our store. If you comment shop on any of our posts, you'll get the link to our store. Everything's 20% off through today. And we have some fun new things in there inspired by some of our funniest meme captions
and
that you all love.
And by you. That's the other thing is like, if you have something that you would love to see on a mug or a t-shirt or something that just like resonates with you, please let us know, because you are our best source of inspiration for all of this. And she's the master designer. Like, I have to say, she's like the designer queen. So like, I can't take any credit for any of this, but this one is incredible, and she will whip it up for you. And we just love hearing your ideas. And I think that's another way that we can create community by just shared laughs, which we talked about yesterday, and it's a big part of our work that we do here is just creating community, and a lot of that is through humor. So it's evolved. Anyways, as we're waiting for our next guest to come, he is our last guest, Dr. Chris at Evolved by Chris. He is a relationship and life coach who blends science, nervous system awareness, and real-life experience to help people attract secure and grounded love after divorce. Chris has decades of clinical work and a deeply personal healing journey. And he teaches practical attachment tools that help your body feel safe enough to truly connect. So we are going to invite Chris in. Give us 1 second. We're having a little bit of technical issues. Hang on 1 second. so sorry. We've been doing so well up until this point with like technical glitches, right? But it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get Chris in, and luckily we don't have any time restraints with this one.
You're following, right?
Yes. Evil. Okay. All right. Well.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get this through, but Okay, I'm gonna let Hillary do, because she's the operational person, and I think we just got a text message. Should we just get a text message? Yeah, she's the operational person. Okay, so we're glad that everybody's here. And thank you for bearing with us as we figure out the technology here. We really have been going smoothly. So what I want to say, though, logistically, is that if you are registered for DivorceCon, you're automatically going to get the recordings and all of the like everything that we have curated over the past 2 days for DivorceCon. But if you're not registered yet, we encourage you to just sign, do the registration so that you can make sure that you get a copy of it, because you may just be seeing us going live and you're like, what's happening? Well, we're in the middle of DivorceCon. It's been a 2-day experience. It's been amazing. We're so grateful for your love. From India, you're so kind. Everyone loves us. We love you guys. I mean, honestly, Hillary and I pinch ourselves on a regular basis that we get to be your friends in this way. Yeah. So continue to stick with us, but more importantly, that you continue to believe that hope always wins.
It really does.
And we're going to get there together, whatever our there means. So, good. Yay, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. We're so excited to see you.
I know. We're sorry for the technical challenge.
Yes.
Disadvantageous. So it's like,
it's I know. Well, and it's Saturday. It's like a week, and in January, like it's just we're all trying to like get back into the real life groove. I feel like, which
I've been seeing clients since 7 a.m. this morning. This is my day's half over already. Saturdays don't exist.
I know, and it's not even 3:00. So, but we're so grateful, first of all, for you joining us.
To be here.
And I think that the conversation that we're going to have is going to be so impactful and so just insightful for a lot of people, because dating after divorce and trying to, if a relationship, a romantic relationship is something that you want post divorce or post breakup, or whatever your circumstances are, and it was like a traumatic ending or anything like that, I think that having knowledge and tools and resources like what you share with the world is so important to have. And we're just really excited to chat with you about ways that you can attract secure love after a relationship or a divorce.
Right. So, and the way to know yourself.
Yes.
Because I think that, right, that's also the piece, Dr. Chris, is like knowing ourselves first, and then attracting that love. But a lot of us just go into that like, oh, I have butterflies. Yay, this is going to be forever.
Yes,
let's get married. Yeah. Chemistry. We're having great relations. And we think everything is well. But, there's so much that we skip over about knowing ourselves before we even get to attracting secure love. So if you could just tell everyone about you, about your work, and why this topic is so important.
Well, gosh, first off, it is. I mean, I've been divorced. I was married for 14 years, divorced 6 years ago. It was not one of those good ones.
Yes.
Without getting into it or like demonizing an ex, it was, I divorced a grandiose narcissist. So anyone that's been through that on the male aspect or the female aspect would know, not fun. So anyway, you go through a rediscovery phase where you, number one, have to recover from it, and then you have to discover who you are. You need to, particularly as a man, redefine your purpose and then carry on. So my life, essentially, because I'm fairly growth orientated as far as a predisposition, just from a personality aspect, and my temperament is one to always want to kind of discover and do better, be better. So post divorce and my entire career, clinically, academically, and just my own personal work, has always been trying to understand myself and even more so others. So my work now is really resonant of a perspective that takes into account a POV. And it confuses a lot of people
Yes.
because they're like, was this you? I'm like, yeah, you should get help. I'm like, no, it's not me.
Right, right, right. It's yeah.
When I do the POV, I'm a narcissist or I am avoidant and I'm going to do this or whatever it is. So it's really in the sense that I'm trying to give people the understanding and compassion from the other person's perspective so that you don't personalize it, which is common to do. If you get left, you're like, well,
Yes.
what was wrong with me? Or
No, and
if
I
you're with a
and I
narcissist, you're like, I'm the problem. You know what I mean?
yes. And I think that's such an important point because so speaking from my own personal experience, when I didn't realize that my ex had a lot of narcissistic tendencies until after I had kind of, we had started the divorce proceedings. And it was so validating when I started learning more about it and learning
Mm,
about it at more clinically, I think than from just a bashing perspective or a woe is me kind of perspective, because it really
mm.
like helped me put it into perspective, like there's nothing I could have done to save it, like this is just how this person functions. And because I'm not like I consider myself a secure attacher, it's never going to work unless they do something to work on and I wasn't dealt the same hand of cards that they were. So
Right.
I think that what you're doing with the POV videos, I think, is very empowering in a way, because
Mm.
it really just kind of like takes that piece away from the responsibility piece away, and kind of makes it more logistical and more, I don't know,
It makes
it
it
just
it makes
helps.
it make sense.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Especially when your emotions are involved. It's so hard to make sense when you're grieving and when you're sad about, someone you once loved.
And they're complex topics, human
Yes.
psychology, attachment, understanding someone else's perspective. These are highly complex things. And when you're in relationship and you have an emotional attunement, you have emotional attachment, you have emotional
Yes.
integration where that person is literally part of you and integrated into you as a human being, it's natural you're going to take it personally. That's just
Yep.
normal.
Yeah.
So I try to take a complex topic like attachment, which is deeply complex and rooted in decades of trauma sometimes or more, and I make it digestible and simple so people say, "Oh my God, you just gave me a 30-year summation of my marriage
Yes.
in
In like
three
a
minutes.
2 minute video. Yep.
How on earth does this make sense?" But now I'm able to let it go because it's not about me. And that's
Yeah.
my point, is to say it's never about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, well, I have to say, like, people like you, and then also I'm going to shout out Coach Ryan, because he's another
He's
one that,
awesome.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he helped me in my, like, first post-divorce breakup, like, my first
Mm,
relationship after divorce. If it hadn't been for, like, similar resources that you put out, just
mm.
kind of like realizing that you're not the problem, and it's not so much you as the centerpiece of why the relationship ended. It really does help you move forward in a more productive and also compassionate way, because I don't feel like I don't have a lot of like negative emotions as much towards like my ex-husband and my ex-boyfriend, because I feel like I see it from a different perspective. And I think that, to your point, those POV videos and those like explanations of why really, for me, really were helpful and really helped me in my healing journey. So I appreciate what you do. And that's why I was so excited when you agreed to chat with us today, because I think that it's such a common thing that happens. And I think that, we need stuff like this. So thank you for what you put out into the
I
world for
just I just want to
people.
highlight one thing you said, where you said just a minute ago that that you're not the problem, or that I'm not the problem. And I don't directly agree with that, because it always takes two people.
Oh
Everyone
yeah.
has problems.
Yes.
There's never a unilateral decision in a divorce. It
Right.
takes two people to get there.
Sure.
And I'm very much in owning my aspect of a divorce. But
Oh,
it's
trust me,
simply
I
the
wasn't saying I wasn't
decisions.
perfect. Yes.
Right. The
But
decisions that someone else makes and the complexities behind those decisions are independent of you,
mhm,
is the main thing that I try to translate. Everyone's
yeah.
having their own experience. And I actually heard this yesterday from a client, and they said that, my wife says this thing, and it's like, well, you don't understand what I'm going through. I went through more than you. And it's
Right.
an individual experience, right? It's very subjective, and no one's pain, no matter what it is greater than anyone else's, because it's individual. It's just allowing
Right.
them to say, that's your pain. I am not the facilitator or creator of
Right.
your decisions, you know. So that's
Yeah,
the
no,
point I try to
absolutely.
get
I think
across.
that, yeah, no, I think that thank you for clarifying
I
that
just wanted to,
because
yeah, I
I
just
think
wanted to
that
make
that
that
is a
clear.
really, yeah, no, 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 no. I know that I was not perfect in many, many ways of both my marriage and my relationship, but I think
Yeah,
that sometimes it's easy to kind of like take on all of it, but when you really see it in a more clinical way from like the other
yeah,
person's perspective, which I think that you do a really good job of doing, it kind of helps you kind of move forward in a more productive and a better healing experience. I think you have a better healing experience when you have this knowledge and this curiosity about why it broke down because I'm a naturally curious person and I want to know what part I played and what parts I couldn't, weren't about me really. Because a
yeah,
lot of times it's not even about us. It's about their things they're carrying with them, I
Yeah.
100%.
think is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and keeping in mind, right, what we learned from our past relationships and, whether it's the marriage or dating, like what's one small shift a person can make right now to attract the more ideal kind of love, right? And as part of that, like also showing up as a person who is secure. Um, what,
It,
what,
it's a,
what, what can we do? Where do we get started on that journey?
Yeah.
it's an interesting question. And a lot of times I hear this from clients and they say, like, I want to find a secure man, or I want to find this idealization of a partner. As long as they're not like my exes, I have this vision that that person exists. And it's a little bit of a fallacy. I'll tell you what, you will not find secure love. And I'm
Hmm.
really direct when I say that. It is something that you need to create. And you
Hmm.
can't create something unless you're number one, very sure on what you want, which most people aren't. They think they are, but when it comes down to it, they really don't know. Number two, really certain in who you are. And most
Hmm.
people don't know who they are. There's always going to be some discrepancy between your fundamental three core values, your definition of self and your purpose as that relates to your boundaries, your triggers, your non-negotiables, your patterns of behavior in life. There's always a discrepancy. And until those become fully aligned and you're integrated and you're living a life that is congruent with your value system, your purpose, your definition of who you are, um, you're not going to be able to show up in a way and certainly not going to be able to discern who's right for you and who's not. But the reality is, everyone's going to have red flags. Everyone's going to have issues. Everyone's going to have an inner child that's still screaming when it gets touched and poked. And different aspects, different parts of that inner self will be touched differently by different people. So each relationship
Hmm.
is very independent, which is why you can be anxiously attached or avoidant or secure with three different people. And it's like
All
your
right.
attachment doesn't change, but the parts that people poke do. And your
Mm.
reactions and
That is
responses are different.
Dr. Chris, that is a deep thought. I mean, I just, okay. Honestly, I mean,
Like
Hillary knows
Floyd Meadows, Floyd
I've been
Meadows deep
struggling to
thoughts.
understand. Like, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
I know.
yeah,
I
Okay.
think she's having a moment.
I'm having a moment. I
an
won't let this
existential crisis over
derail
here. Yes.
us.
Yeah, yeah, literally, literally.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
sorry.
Makes
you can see if
sense
someone's
though. It really makes
anxious.
sense.
Yeah, if you have a partner who's wildly anxious, okay, which is typically more on the female side, but certainly highlighted on the male aspect,
Right.
that's going to put the other partner into maybe a little bit of an avoidance.
Hmm.
Avoidant. They're going to get overwhelmed.
Stance.
They're going to get emotionally
Yeah.
overstimulated. They're going to withdraw because it's just too much. Or if your partner comes in and
Yep.
they're avoidant heavy after they love bomb you for 3 months, and all of a sudden they disappear. There's inconsistencies, incongruencies. Nothing makes sense anymore. When things are good, they pull away. They create problems. You're going to be anxious,
Yeah,
and it's
naturally,
situationally
because
appropriate.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think that is a really important
yeah.
distinction. And I think that if, like you said before, if you know yourself and you
Mm,
know you're kind of like equipped with a lot of this knowledge of these triggers and
mm,
these different things to look for, I think that you can, kind of navigate dating after divorce or finding love
mm.
after divorce or whatever your goal is in a much more productive and um I don't want to say logical, but like kind of logical way where it's less. I don't know. I think sometimes with dating, it can become so emotionally charged that we sometimes, that's how we miss red flags, right? And that's how we
Yeah.
kind of get ourselves into situations where maybe we're not being our best selves, or maybe, we're triggering somebody or they're triggering us. So I think that just having the knowledge of this type, these things are just so important.
It's a combination of intuition and
Yes.
logic and
Yep.
intuition. And there's a lot of evidence out there. I highlight this, and a lot of relationship coaches do. The intuition is the best indicator of the person you should choose, but intuition
Hmm.
oftentimes is confused with anxiety, right?
Interesting.
And
Okay.
anxiety physiologically is the same feeling as, guess what? Love.
Okay. All
You know,
right.
when you're in love, when you have feelings,
Mhm.
anxiety, the feeling of anxiety and the feeling of love, the butterflies, the tingly, that's love.
Right.
That's anxiety. You shunt blood from your extremities. Your heart rate increases. You can go for a long time without food or sleep. You tend to react more than respond. You tend to have an elevated, like I said, breathing rate, heart rate. You physiologically you change in a very similar way. Flushed face, all the sort of stuff. Anxiety and love. If people don't understand the somatic cues with anxiety and understand there's a difference between that intuition and even what love or feelings are, which fundamentally many people don't, um,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to confuse specific things like chemistry for a connection or intuition for anxiety or
Right.
vice versa. So using your intuition in dating, but still going in very consciously understanding what are the things that you should be asking, what questions should you ask early on, and really the sooner the better. And there's a fundamental fear with people I coach. They don't want to ask, women particularly, they don't want to ask deep questions early on. They're scared of it. They don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
And I coach people to say that you have to, unless you just want to have fun, then don't ask them. But you got to get
Right.
deep sooner than
Right.
later,
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
it's so much better to figure it out
Yeah.
sooner rather
Mm.
than, going down the line and realizing you're not aligned or there's some big like some big red
Yeah.
flag that you're not able to
Yeah.
to
I mean,
yeah.
I legit want to give people a Google survey. I'm not afraid. This could be because I'm 50. Um, I'm like, here's a questionnaire. Please answer all these things. And then it's like a screening tool. But I get that
Right.
it's hard to ask those questions.
Mm-hmm.
But
You can
yeah,
integrate
anyway,
them in a fun way. Integrating them in a fun way during conversation is really key. And then otherwise, it's in the interview. It's going to be pressurized.
Right.
It's going to be, it's not exactly healthy. So you got to integrate them into conversation at appropriate times. But there's an easy way to do that, you know.
Yeah.
But
Dr.
I get what you're
Chris, you're
saying.
so responsible. You're so responsible.
Okay.
I'm a little reckless,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest. But
It's a
okay, well, we have
facade.
a
I'm really not.
question.
Well, you're coming off that way, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate it. Okay.
We have a question from someone.
Yeah.
So the question is, someone was dating. I don't know what FA means. I have a question. I believe I'm
Fearful avoidance.
FA.
Fearful
fearful avoidant.
avoidance.
Okay.
Okay.
Anxious
Thank you.
avoidance. They're a little both. It's amazing.
Okay. Okay. All right. See, I'm a novice. Okay. I
Yeah.
believe I'm FA. She was
Yeah.
anxiously attached, said we needed
Yeah.
distance for healing 2 times. Is this something for while I do work on myself? That's a good question.
Um, if you need to work on yourself, then by default, you're waiting. So it's not that you're waiting for them, but you need the time to heal yourself. Someone who's FA, if you was someone who's anxious, is going to stimulate your avoidant aspect, right? And because the FA is fearful avoidant, dismissive, or sorry, disorganized avoidant, or anxious avoidant. It's confusing. It's the same thing. There's three names, so they're just basically you have anxious, avoidant, secure. So secure is off the table. Anxious is also known as anxious preoccupied. Okay, so that's two names.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have avoidant. And avoidant has two subcategories. Dismissive avoidant, typically men. These are the ones who are like emotionally flat. They come in hot right away. They say all the things, they do all the stuff because you can
They
verbalize
hook ya.
EQ. Yeah, they can hook you. 2, 3 months, then all of a sudden they're gone. They're flat. They're like, I give you food, shelter, clothing, sex. What else do you want? What else could you
Right.
possibly want from me? You have everything. That's dismissive. Very rare do women do have that. Commonly with men, if in the avoidant category they do. Then there's the fearful avoidant, disorganized avoidant, anxious avoidant. It's the same thing with three names. Don't ask me why. So that's the other category. Very high percentage of women are fearful avoidant, anxious, and avoidant at the same time. So you come in because you want the relationship, but when you get there, you don't feel that you can trust the person. As soon as you get the feelings, you get scared. You become hypervigilant. You create problems. You tend to scan for issues. You tend to get anxiety because you're just not sure. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm not sure if we're going to have kids. I don't know if I'm going to be a good dad. I don't know if that person's a good mom. They might have health issues.
Right.
Maybe they're not as emotionally stable. Maybe we can't resolve conflict. There's 1,000 reasons when you get close with the fearful avoidant, anxious avoidant, that give you the validation to leave the relationship, to regulate yourself. Because your cortisol is high. You want a reason to leave so you don't have shame for just leaving to
Sure.
regulate.
Yeah.
So once you leave, your cortisol starts to drop. Okay. Your dopamine increases. You feel good. And as soon as your dopamine starts to feel good, you're like, man, I kind of want to reach out. So they'll give a very obscure touch-based message to their partner, trying to get them back because they need the dopamine hit. They want to be there. Then as soon as they get back there again, and it's a cycle, around and around and around they go. So the fearful avoidant is, yeah, men and women, but I coach a lot of women with the fearful avoidant. It's more
Yeah.
common than women think, actually. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, we have one final question from our listeners about before we wrap up, since this is a lightning session. But what is one small way that some easy, maybe introductory ways that someone can start to create secure love in future relationships?
Because I love what you said. Like, you don't find secure
Yeah,
love, you
create
create
it.
it.
You
So that's a
create it.
total reframe. We're all about the reframe.
Yeah.
How do you begin to do that?
You know, it's a funny thing. I love the reframe of love. And I have said to my partner, I'm like, I didn't fall in love with you. I'm like, I chose to love you. I chose to love you because I love all the aspects of who you are, you know, your
Right.
morality, your value system, etc. You know, the experiences, how we resolve conflict, and so on. So, how you choose how to become more secure? Number one, learn to regulate your nervous system. The secure person, the primary defining factor is they can regulate fast. It's not that you don't get
Mhm.
triggered. I get triggered like hell. It's just I don't do anything when I am. If
Right.
it's a big trigger, I'll take 12 hours. I'll sit on it and I'll make a decision the next day to come to the conversation in a regulated way. If it's something that I can regulate quickly, just during conversation, maybe they've hit a little part that I don't like inside, you know, an inner child part, and I want to like, you know, defend, deflect, project back to them. I'll take a breath, I'll breathe. Usually these conversations are done on walks. So learning to regulate your nervous system and get to a baseline, you want to increase your stimulus threshold as far as what it takes to hit a trigger and a pattern of behavior subsequently happens. So learning to regulate, number one. Number two, dopamine detox. Learn to be good alone without external stimulation. Get rid of auto regulation. Clean up your life. Get rid of alcohol. Get rid of drugs. Get rid of just dating for the sake of boredom. Get rid of overstimulation. Be okay on your own. So learning to secure and then understanding yourself. Three very simple things. Have a patterned, routine life. Have consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency is stability, right? Predictability is safety in life.
Yeah. I mean, our brains are wired to think that, change is what kind of our enemy can be sometimes. So I think
Right.
to your point, like that's so important to kind of create these scenarios and these habits that feel safe so that our brain is comfortable in safety. So
Anxiety, by
I
definition,
love this.
is the fear of a future that you don't know. It's a fear of a future outcome with unpredictability, which is why anxiety spikes with the avoidant person because they become inconsistent, they become unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. So if you can
Right.
create safety in your own
It's like a
life by
slot machine.
creating the predictability, that's going to increase your security level. And the trick is
Yeah.
staying in that predictable pattern when you're in relationship. Don't abandon who you are.
Right. Yes. No, I think this is such wonderful, wonderful advice. And it's just interesting how hard it can be to distinguish between all of it. It's so tricky, but
Well,
that's why it's so important to have such amazing resources out there to
mm,
kind of like aid you on this healing journey. And if you want a
yeah.
relationship, how to kind of move in a secure direction as opposed to
Hmm.
you're falling into old patterns. So but
Yeah.
before we wrap, can you tell us, Chris, where people can find you if they want to learn more about your coaching and your just resources that you offer?
100%. Yeah, we right now are primarily on Instagram. Our Instagram page is new. It blew up. I had 85 people on there, gosh, 14 weeks ago, and we're at over a quarter million now, organic, 100%. So that is our number one funneling tool. So if you there's a link in our bio, Evolved by Chris on Instagram. We have a TikTok
Mhm.
page as well. It's a little smaller, a little bit less, less action on there as far as getting into the coaching space. But Instagram would be the primary way. And yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. We have a school community that has just started as well, but primarily I prefer the one-on-one. We
Mhm.
take a very small number of individuals to qualify for that, and we're just now onboarding people for the end of January. It's a program I put people through, very tailored, very specific, very customized, and we work together as a coach. I'm beside you for whatever period of time we are working together as a resource. Like you have accessibility to me on a high level. And it's exciting. It's extremely rewarding to me, and the outcomes are 98% success.
Wonderful.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just thank you for joining our very first Divorce Con, and hope to bring you along on the journey for when as we expand this and do it in person. And I think what you're talking about is so important to us, learning about ourselves after divorce or
Yeah.
after any relationship that ends.
Yes.
And let's
Yeah.
normalize the fact that relationships end, just like the day ends, just like college ends. Sometimes relationships end, and the real question is, how do we get better for ourselves and for whomever else is part of our lives after that?
Yep.
It's a
So
redefinition process. You got to redefine yourself, because your ex is physically integrated, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically integrated into who you are. You need to redefine yourself in most every aspect. It's challenging.
Yes.
It's a journey.
absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we hope you have a great rest of the day. We thank
guys as well.
everybody for joining us for Divorce Con. This is the end of the road in
I
this
know.
particular version and iteration, but it's been fun. And Dr. Chris, thank you for wrapping it up so well on such a
Yes.
positive, forward-looking note.
Absolutely, you guys. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. And just a reminder to everybody that if you missed this, if you missed a part of this recording, or if there's other interviews that you want to see, please go to one of our many DivorceCon posts that are on our account right now and click or comment attend, and we will send you an email with all of the recordings plus all of the resources from our amazing speakers, so that you can have them at your fingertips and you can watch them when you have time. We're just so thrilled with how this turned out, and we can't wait to do it again. Hopefully it'll be in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, everyone, and hope always wins.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Dr.
Thanks,
Chris.
Chris. Yes.
You guys have a good night.